Cameron, the game is flying. Take your pick. We could almost do a segment. Here's Cameron Smith's top 10 moments from the weekend, the good, the bad, the ugly. But let's start with Sean Johnson. Man, talk about fairy tales. Not everyone goes out with a premiership win, but could you believe what you saw with your own eyes on Saturday night?
Oh, it was incredible. To witness, that last play was just, it was a Sean Johnson play, wasn't it? Really, and it's what we've become accustomed to seeing him come up with in crucial moments, and his career's been littered with those big moments. Would have been nice if he knocked that conversion over at the end, just to put the icing on the cake, right? When he had that final attempt, but it was almost like it was written for him. The script was written for him to finish that way with that lovely ball out to DWZ, and he crossed over in the corner. I don't think many people really gave the Warriors too much hope of beating the Sharkies, given how high the Sharkies were up.
Not a chance. Not in a million did I get.
Yeah. No.
22-4 at halftime. I didn't even consider a comeback at that stage because they were almost 26-4 with a kick to come. They had a try disallowed or pulled back right on halftime. And I didn't see it, Cam, because I was at Suncorp and I just jumped on a plane. But Vossi told me that they had 2 tries. Cronulla scored 2 tries in the opening couple of minutes of the second half, but they weren't awarded. But they just looked like they were going to carry on. What a crazy weekend of footy. The Saturday games were just how you get your head around the Dolphins winning 40-6 over the Broncos at Suncorp, and what happened before that, the Eels and the Dragons. My God.
Oh, well, and this is the thing as well. Like, even the Dragons were playing like that was a crucial game for them, right? So Eels was sitting down way on the bottom of the ladder, and the Dragons they're looking to play finals. That's right, when you're in, Bossy, and but the way that game finished, like, is just it's mind-boggling. How does that happen?
No consolation for Dragons fans, but Cam, I was watching the fans sitting in the crowd at CommBank, and I'm thinking, no, this comeback's not. It's hurting more than what it's doing good, isn't it? The Dragons fans are cringing.
Yeah. Well, that's. I think a lot of them at the stadium, Brandy, they would have been sitting there thinking, well, where was this in the first half?
100%.
We managed to managed to score one try in the first half, and all of a sudden
70 minutes. 2 in the first 70. 2 in the first 70. 2 in the first 70 and 5 and 9.5. Cameron, let me just put you right on the spot now. Okay, let's get really down to business. Okay. Incredibly, 4 of the top 5 lost matches over the weekend. 2 weeks out from the finals. 5 of the top 8. Have you taken the red felt pen to any of those sides out of the weekend? Now, Melbourne, of course, had a situation they could rest players 11. So let's leave out Melbourne Storm. They're obviously one of the favourites. But the Sharks, the Roosters defeat on the back of Walker, Smith, Radley injuries. Where do you sit on this premiership now? Have you got a 2-horse race? Are you going outside the top 2? Penrith now back to second?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's a 2-horse race. I think Melbourne and Penrith now, they're in the box seat, aren't they? And when you think about Penrith, they've still got Cleary to come back. So I think is he still aiming for week 1 of the finals? So he won't play this week. Are they thinking he'll be back for week 1 of the finals?
They are, yes.
Yeah, so that's obviously, we all know how crucial he is to the Penrith side, and that they're a much stronger footy team when he's there. But I to be honest, fellas, I had the Roosters sort of above them leading into this weekend until they just had a horror 80 minutes.
So where do you have the Roosters now? Sam Walker gone for the year, Brandon Smith gone for the year, and Charlie has just informed us that Victor Radley has been ruled out for the season. He requires surgery.
Is he really?
Well, that's
what's
been reported. Yep.
Wow.
That's
a significant AC injury given. Well,
that's right.
Not good.
Well, that's massive given, the influence particularly those 3 players have on their footy side, with the not just with the way they play, but the confidence that those 3 players bring to the rest of the team. That might be really hard now, with those three players out for the remainder of the year. So, mate, look, but still, they've still got a pretty classy footy side. So I don't want to jump ahead too much or too early and say that they're gone. There's just something about the Sharkies boys. I haven't been convinced by them all year. I really haven't. And I apologise to Sharkies fans, but when it comes to the big matches, they're just unproven, aren't they? They for some reason they just when it matters, they just seem like they can't get it done. But
Cameron, you're saying you're not committing to racing two, but every argument you're putting forward sounds like you are committing to a racing two. Melbourne Penrith. I'm sorry, Cameron, but the defence is going to sit down and rest now. The prosecution is resting.
I'll say Melbourne and Penrith that they are in the box seat to go all the way to the grand final at the moment.
That's probably a good spot to leave it.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that. The others, I'll tell you one that could get there. I'll chuck in two. I think Bulldogs and the Seagulls. If they get it right on any given day, if they get it right, they can beat those other two teams. So I'll chuck those two in the mix as well.
Gee, I was impressed with Manly and their start to the game. And I watched the Dogs, and you thought before the game, gee, they've travelled a lot. They've gone New Zealand, Bundaberg. They've been in Townsville. They've been in Brisbane. It's been a big month and a half. They did look a little flat, but they did not handle the big men. They didn't handle Paseka.
No.
They didn't handle Matt Lodge. Scattered the little forwards, the little forwards at Mobile Pack. The big boys really did the damage.
Ola Kawatu was incredible.
Beast.
He just looked unstoppable, didn't he? But yeah, no, you're right, Brendan. Those two starting props for Manly really set the tone for the night, and they played aggressively. They played fast. I thought Luke Brooks was really good as well. DCE he's just playing the house down at the moment. He's got a great kicking game. That 40-20 he kicked across his body was incredible.
Wow. The other side of the field.
Yeah, which is his favourite kick, right? And it's incredible how he just keeps keeps finding them, and wingers aren't onto it. But no, look, that's what I say though. That they are a side that when they're like they got beat by West Tigers, right? And you're just thinking, what's going on there? But when they get it right, they can match it with those two big sides up top.
Because their outside backs are good. They got finishers. Garrick was very good on the weekend. He was outstanding, Garrick.
We're talking about how dysfunctional our text line is. You've been called Splinter Smith on the text line. Everyone cops it in the neck on this show. Warrior Kiwi Rooster makes a declaration. He says Rooster's gone, Sharks gone, Bulldogs gone, Manly Dark Horse depending on Turbo, Grand Final Storm v Penrith. So emphatic Warrior Kiwi Rooster on the text line. He's just come out and declared it. But after the last weekend, you can't help but think there's going to be more twists in the tail this week before we get to the finals. Like everyone's an injury away from the betting being redefined.
That's right. Nothing is a given. With what went on over the weekend, you can't go the early crow on anything. You've just got to wait to see how it unfolds.
All right. Now, I'm going to throw one at Cameron. You were coached by Craig Bellamy. In match play golf, you see what your opponent hit in the water, so you play safe. You know what I mean? You don't play aggressive. If I'm Craig Bellamy and I'm seeing those leading contenders, I do rest Cameron Munster this week. I do rest Ryan Pappenhausen this week. I'm not going full strength against Brisbane Thursday night. Why would you?
Well, I think that's his plan, though, Vossi. I'm pretty sure that's Craig Bellamy's plan, is to roll out his strongest possible lineup this week against the Broncos. And even though it's a match that really it doesn't matter in the context of their season. Like whether they win or lose this one, they still they finish on top as minor premiers and get the home semi-final and the second crack at it by finishing in the top four. But I really think he wants to roll out his strongest possible lineup. Because they were missing a stack last week, right? He rested 11.
11.
The one I would be a little bit sort of concerned about, or maybe just try and cushion him through this game, would be Pappenhausen. Given you got to remember he got that little knock on his knee, which he was then taken from the field and really didn't play. He only played about a quarter of the match. you just got to be so careful because if he's a little bit tender still, a little bit sore, you got to remember like he's not the biggest bloke getting around. So if they get a hold of him this game, and you got to remember, so one of their big plays and where they love to put a lot of pressure on the fullback is Reynolds. He'll chuck up a high kick and he'll sit the fullback under the ball, and Jordan Ricky just races through and absolutely pulverises the fullback. So, yeah, he's the one. He's the one I'd be thinking about. If I'm Craig Bellamy, I'm thinking maybe Pappenhausen might just sit out this week. Let Saul fly along. I'll get out there and have 80 minutes under his belt again. But Munster, Grant, Hughes, all these blokes, I think they'll be going back in.
Maybe Kevy rests some of the Brisbane players.
Where'd that come from? What, reverse?
Well, because
you think they'll get a better result?
Well, you know what? What happens if the Storm put 40 or 50 on the Broncos? Where does that leave? Where does that leave Brisbane? Where does that? Yeah. Where does that leave Kev?
Well,
bit awful end
of
the
happen.
Season.
Like it could happen. The Dolphins did it on the weekend, 40-6. The Broncos
easily could happen.
They were legless. They were legless on the weekend, and if it rolls around again, some dark clouds hanging over the city of Brisbane. Not north, but not north of Brisbane. Redcliffe, sunny and shining.
Townsville's pretty good too.
Townsville's all right.
We even got a smile out of Wayne on the weekend, didn't we?
Yes.
Well, it's the first time they've beaten Brisbane, so I guess it was good reason to smile.
Yeah. Where else do we go out of this weekend, which was quite incredible? What I will say is Manly without Tom Trebojevic, you were about to ask, is he back? Well, it looked painful, Brandy, for them to quickly declare he's right for round one of the finals. He's not going to be completely right. Now,
no.
Those shoulders of yours, Cameron, and they said you had the shoulders of a snake. You must have played with some. Were you ever needled in the shoulder? Did you cop needles in the shoulders, Cameron, at different points of your career to play big matches?
AC.
Well, I did the same injury as Turbo in my final year. So I had the AC injury through that final series and in the grand final. So it's they are painful. They are painful, and they sort of restrict your movement a little bit of your arm. So, and given I was playing dummy half, that's obviously a pretty crucial part of your game is being able to pass a lot. So I had to get a jab in it. But I think depending on the grading of it and how severe the injury is,
I reckon it's as severe as you can get. I reckon.
Yeah, right.
I reckon just looking at the pain that he was in and just the uncomfortable nature. Him sitting there with it in a sling through the rest of the game. I reckon we're looking grade 3, complete separation. I reckon it's as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
So
it'll be a little bit painful, a little bit uncomfortable, and particularly the movement of the shoulder. When he's up taking catches and getting his arm up raised upwards, and that's where. That can cause you some issues with that AC tear. So, but as far as pain's concerned, like they'll have to give him a needle and that'll take care of that. He'll have to play with how it feels a little bit.
Just for the non-footy play, the needle, Cameron. Do you get needled again at half time? Do you have to get a needle for each half?
Well, depend. I used to, if I had anything I needed to needle, say like if I was playing with some broken ribs or the AC joint, I used to just ask the doctor to do it, even if they particularly
just
were
top
a little
me up,
bit
Doc.
sort of like, oh mate,
just top me up.
you don't. I don't think you'll need it. I just said, mate, give it to me, because the last thing you want as a player, right, is to be out there and at the 60th minute, that needle's worn off, and then all of a sudden you're playing with all this pain in your body. But there'd be a fair few players at this stage of the season, fellas, copping that sort of the local before games or at half time to get them through.
A lot of Novocaine being handed out.
Right, Novocaine for the soul.